told him all that they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they hurried there on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of them. As he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored the boat. When they got out of the boat, people at once recognized him and rushed about that whole region and began to bring the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak. And all who touched it were healed. This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
May God's word be spoken and God's word be heard. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. In this 6th chapter of Mark, Mark has been telling us what it is like to be a follower of Jesus from the vantage point of the disciples. So he began by telling us that Jesus was powerless in his own home, that there were people who would not accept Jesus because they had preconceived notions about him. That is not too different from what we find today. And so Jesus gave his followers, Jesus gave us authority and power to do his work in the world, to silence and drive out the evil spirits and to heal the sick. And the disciples went out 2 by 2 and did that, and it worked. They had success. And right after telling us about their success, Mark gives us this warning, this story about the beheading of John the Baptist. And he says to us, okay, you are going to go out into the world with authority, with power, to do the work of Jesus, but beware. There are forces that are going to try and silence you. There are forces that are going to try and stop you. And they are not necessarily the overt ones in power. It often comes from covert places. It happens behind the scenes. So don't trust your political connections to protect you. But fear not, because nothing can ultimately silence God's truth. Nothing will stop God's righteousness and God's judgment. Even though they slay us, the work will get done. It will continue. Now, after that little parenthesis of a warning, Mark comes back to the story today and says, the disciples came back rejoicing. They were all excited. Now, I'm sure you've all had that experience where you have done some ministry, you have done some work, and it turned out wonderfully. And you were all excited. Yay, we're doing God's work. This is great. Let's do some more. Let's keep going. We're on a roll now. But Jesus' message to us this morning is, when you have had success, when you have accomplished something within your ministry, then it's time to take a break. It's time to go off by yourself and regroup. Why? Mark paints this picture because we will become overwhelmed. Success is too much. In today's gospel, the people kept coming. They wouldn't even let them eat. And that is how ministry can become. And many a missionary, many a pastor, many a lay worker has become exhausted and quit entirely because they were so excited about the work they were doing, so fervent about what was being accomplished, that they kept doing and kept doing and kept doing and found nature abhors a vacuum. So if there's any gap, it will get filled up with more. If you have finished something, there'll be a ton more to do. And anyone who has ever cleaned out a drawer knows this, right? There's always, oh, I got to take care of this now, and then I have to take care of this. So Mark is giving us warnings and giving us Jesus' teaching. Yes, we have been given authority, we have been given power to go out and Jesus in the world and do the work. But beware, not only of opposition that is covert or overt, but beware of burnout within yourself. Make sure to take time out to just go by yourself and be at peace and regroup your energies and refocus yourself before going out to do more. So thus our contemplative service this morning. We are called by Jesus to take some time out once in a while to just be at peace, be in his presence, and not worry about what comes next in the bulletin, or what comes next tomorrow, or what comes next this afternoon, but to just take some time to be at peace and breathe in God's refreshing spirit.